Have you ever thought about the things that actually keep you stuck in the same position? Have you ever thought about the reason why you don't have confidence? Because most women wait because they want to feel confident before they actually start something. But the thing that holds so many women back is that they feel resistance to something, so then they don't do it. But actually, that resistance is the thing that usually means you should go and do it. I'm going to use myself as a bit of an example with this YouTube video, right? Because I had always said I will never do YouTube. I will never do it. And then I actually sat back and thought about the reason why I didn't want to make a YouTube channel, right? And it was simply coming from fear. What happens if nobody watches it? What happens if I can't even create a video because I'm terrible with technology and I can't edit and it's going to take me so long? The fact that I felt resistance and I understood that that resistance was coming from fear, I knew that I had to go and do it, right? And then over time, you get better at things. Not saying I'm the best at YouTube. However, you could probably argue that my YouTube's a little bit better than what it was at the start, right? And that's just through repetition. That is just literally from showing up. And the same goes for anything. I am such a big believer of helping to push other women outside of their comfort zone because that is the thing that builds confidence, and everybody's going to be at different stages, right? I absolutely love doing photo shoots with clients because the women who take part in those photo shoots did not sign up for coaching to take part in a photo shoot. The second I ever mention it to the majority of clients, they're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. But then they realize a similar thing, that actually, do you know what? Pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone is the thing that's going to help them to build confidence. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that you should do something if it doesn't align with you, or like if somebody tells you to jump off a cliff, that you should just go and do it. Of course not, right? But what I challenge you to do is literally just sit back and go, okay, if I have this belief that I cannot do something, why is that belief actually there? Because if you lean into it, that is where you're going to start to build confidence, because you're going to continue to show up for yourself and prove to yourself that actually, do you know what? I can do this. Everybody wants an easy life, but choosing the easy option is the thing that actually makes it hard. Because if you always do the things that just feel comfortable, you are never going to have belief in yourself that you are capable of doing anything else, right? And you might be right at the start of your fitness journey, right? So the little things for you might be setting an alarm earlier so you can get up and go on a walk. It might be going to the gym after work, even though you don't feel like it. But over time, you're going to have belief that actually, do you know what? I've done hard things before, so why can't I do this? And the thing is, you don't want an easy life, because let's be honest, life is not friggin' easy. There's always going to be hardness coming from somewhere. This is where resilience comes in, right? Because resilience isn't never being knocked down. Resilience isn't never failing at something. Resilience is how quickly do you come back? How quickly can you bounce back and be in a position where you go, okay, that was hard, or okay, do you know what, that didn't work out, but it's fine, I can keep moving forward. If you don't have resilience, you get knocked down, something doesn't go to plan, and then you just quit. And then you just sit in that position where you have no belief in yourself that you can do anything. But you know what, in life, you are gonna fail. And failure is important because that is where you learn. And if you learn something, you're growing. I am such a strong believer that we should all choose to do something hard, and understand that choosing that one thing that is going to be hard, there's going to be lots of other little things that are going to be hard as well. So as an example, right, when I decided to compete, I did not decide to compete because I had the belief in myself that I could do it. I decided to compete because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, especially after being diagnosed with endometriosis. I was always in a position where I felt like I'm never going to get to the place where I want to get to because of this, right? And I realised that that was a load of rubbish. I chose to compete because I thought, you know what, this is going to really push myself outside of my comfort zone. And actually, if I can prove I can do this, then I can pretty much do anything. But along with competing, there was lots of other little challenges in there that were also hard. Competing, overall, hard, scary. Can I really do that? Can I get on stage in front of everybody? But then there was all the other little things as well. sitting with the discomfort of hunger, training when I felt like I had nothing in me, getting up early to make sure I got all my steps in, I got all my cardio in, taking action no matter how I actually felt. And the first time I competed, all the way through I was thinking, I can't do this, but I just got to keep showing up, right? The second time I competed, I was like, do you know what? I've got track record of me doing it before. So I know that right now this feels really friggin' tough, but I've done it. I know I can do it. So I then didn't have that little voice in the back of my head that was telling me, you can't do this, because I knew that I could. But I only knew that because, do you know what? I've done it. I've showed up. I've got that track record because I made a promise to myself and I made sure that I kept that promise. But the problem these days is that it's so easy to break a promise to yourself. And I want you to ask yourself a question, right? Because if you're someone that does this, you constantly say you're going to do something and you don't do it because what? It's only you. You're not hurting anybody else. How does that make any sense? Because I'm sure you wouldn't break a promise to your best mate or your mum or your boyfriend, right? You're not going to do that because you have respect for them. You don't want to let them down. So why is it okay to let yourself down? So many women don't believe they're capable of doing something because they constantly break promises to themselves. And I'm not telling you that you have to go and set some huge goal of competing or taking part in a photo shoot, because maybe for you the things that you need to do to help build your confidence is actually turning up to the gym when you say you're going to go to the gym, is actually sticking to your diet even though you feel hungry, it's actually making sure that you get out of bed when your alarm goes off. But those things, even though they might seem so little, over time they build up, and that is where your confidence comes from. But you have to make sure that you don't wait until you feel confident, because you are never going to feel confident until you actually do the thing. You have to prove to yourself that you will follow through with the things that you say you're going to. If all you do is avoid discomfort, you are always going to be in a position where you never really feel fulfilled. Because every single time you avoid discomfort, you are literally avoiding every single experience that's going to really show you exactly what you're capable of. Life isn't always going to be easy. Dieting isn't easy. Training isn't easy. Doing the hard thing isn't easy. And having resilience doesn't mean that nothing's never going to go wrong. Having resilience means that you know you are going to be okay. That you know if you fail, you're going to get straight back up and you're going to go again. You might have tried a training program before or a diet before. Maybe you've had coaching before, but it didn't work out for you. So now you're in a position where you go, I'm not going to do it again because it never actually worked out for me. You are holding yourself back because that might not have worked for you at that time. But if you get up, dust yourself off and try again, maybe you just needed a different direction. Maybe you just needed to try that little bit harder. Maybe you didn't sit in the discomfort for long enough. But actually, if you go again, you're only going to do better every single time. I remember when I first became a PT, right? And you can literally scroll back on my Instagram if you want, right? I did not want to record any videos of myself. Like, I literally could not do it. Now I don't even give it a second thought. I do not sit here and panic and worry over creating a reel for Instagram, because I've done the work. I've put in the reps. I've shown up time and time again. And each time it gets that little bit easier. But I always bring it back to the reason why I'm doing something. Why do I show up on Instagram? Because I want to help other women, right? So that in the back of my mind is the reason why I show up. We live in a society where everybody wants to make everything as easy as possible. But maybe the question isn't, how do I make something easier? Maybe the question is, who do I actually become if I stop running away from everything that feels hard? So I'm going to end on this. What's something that you've been avoiding that feels uncomfortable? And ask yourself, what is the reason for this? What are you actually feeling? And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out and I'll catch you in the next one.